go. The opinions and views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the Mortgage Dudes only, and not those of Equity Resources Incorporated or Greentree Mortgage Services. We're not crazy. Think of them as your slightly odd, yet occasionally hilarious uncles that are very knowledgeable about mortgages. I will say, together they have over 45 years of experience in the housing market, and that may or may not have included bourbon, beer, and cigars. They are here to enlighten and entertain, and we cannot be responsible for the language or jokes. So buckle up and be ready. Things are about to get interesting.
You might need this for your head.
We talked about this.
Yeah,
listen, buddy. I sunblocked the shit out of this thing. It's because let me tell you right now, this is like a sun catcher. Have you ever burnt the top of your head? It hurts like hell. Yeah. It hurts.
And bald is beautiful. Bald is beautiful, baby.
Yeah, bald is beautiful. Hey everybody, welcome to Mortgage Dudes. I'm Shane Marzullo. This is my partner Ed Moloney, and we're here to kind of lighten the mood of everything and explain the mortgage industry, the life in general. Today, we are going to go over some things today. I think important things about VA loans. We're talking about, why are people scared in the market, kind of things that's happening. Multifamilies. I know we've talked a little bit about this before, but we're going to break down some other items on that. And then we're just not loan officers. And then, for fun things, we're talking about Ed's fish count and, golf season, camping season for me. So, all right, let's get it kicking started. Ed, VA loans. We both do them. We both love our veterans. I think it's important. They have a great program. I'll let you kind of kick it off and talk about the high points and go from there.
I think the biggest thing is a lot of people think you have to be in the military right now to get a VA loan. There are millions of people, millions may not be the number, but a huge number of people that are retired military that don't even realize they have this benefit. In Massachusetts, every town, Shane, must have an advocate for veterans. So it may be one advocate at town hall that covers 7 towns, but they have to be an advocate. So I have a lot of people come to me they're fighting with VA to get their disability, and I'm sending them to those advocates. Also educating those advocates so that they get the word out there. The main points of the VA loan are you got to be a veteran, or you could be the spouse of somebody that passed away, a veteran. There's a couple other little
in service on that.
And nuances. 0% down is the biggest thing. Absolutely one of the biggest things. There's no PMI, but there's a funding fee. The funding fee, in simple terms, is a fee to get the VA loan. It is rolled into your loan because our government loves us and lets us finance it. If you have a 10% or more disability, you do not pay that fee. I got to tell you, most of my veterans now that are getting out of the military in the last 15 years, I'm going to easily say conservative, 60% have a 10% or more disability.
Have you ever saw anything less than 10%?
I haven't. No, that's a great question.
Usually I always see it's like, I think that's like the base.
I'm seeing a lot of 100% and people are still going back to work. More forgiveness on credit. And also, I'll add something to that. In the years of foreclosure, back in 08, 07, 09, VA, in my personal opinion, is harder to foreclose on than any other loan because they step in to prevent it. Unlike conventional, even FHA to a degree, VA, I think, is the hardest one.
I think they had the lowest foreclosure rate, even for 100% financing, because and because the way they do their loans and the kind of, it's 100%. People are like, oh, there's no stake in the game. But the stake was these guys gave their life and were in the military and did all this. But the fact of the matter is there's more to it. It's just VA is very, they're just not going to like, oh, you breathe, here's your loan. They have a service that there's certain things that you have to meet. I don't want to be scary and like, oh, it's really hard to get. They're not super hard to get. It's just you have to explain things like why you were late on items. They're like Ed said, they are more forgiving on credit. But okay, well, what was the reason you were late on these, or why didn't you pay this debt off? And it's in collection, and I think that's kind of an important thing. One thing I will add too is with VA. A lot of times I get veterans who are like, well, I thought there was no closing costs. I'm like, no, there's no PMI. There's no down payment, but there are closing costs. And, so with all mortgages, there's a closing cost type of situation, but, VA, it does have closing costs.
But then it's our job to educate them, just like on any loan. Where can you get your closing costs? Get it from a gift from a relative. You can get the sellers to pay concessions, although it's harder in this market when we have lower inventory, but is it possible? Yes. Could they get a loan against their 401k? Could they get a withdrawal from their 401k? Could they go sell a car? Yes, but I agree with you. I had a person come to me, and she was the spouse of a deceased veteran, so she gets all the VA rights under her certain unique circumstance. And she came to me and she's like, but I'm paying closing costs. VA doesn't have closing costs. I said, ma'am, they do. I don't know what you did 7 years ago in Maine, but chances are the seller paid them. And it's our job to educate. But the loan is an excellent loan. We do have some old-time realtors that get caught up in their underwear about the loan. So let me be clear. First of all, most of my veterans in New England could put 20, 30% down. I had a guy that could do 100% down, and he did 100% financing. My job was to educate my buyer's realtor and the seller's realtor, getting the permission from the client to say, hey, this guy's stronger than an FHA borrower. They could put money down. They choose not to. Also, back to why do realtors get up in their underwear? We can go on to that subject a lot. Sorry, realtor friends. 1 out of 10, maybe? No, but it is what it is. Okay, but the point being, back in the day, VA got a bad rap. The reality now is it's not much different of FHA and conventional. So VA wants the house to be secure. They want it to be safe. Wouldn't you want, if your kid or father is buying a house, for it to be safe? So there's got to be railings if there's so many steps. There can't be broken windows. They do something different, which is a termite inspection. And do they have to have a home inspection? No, but they do have to have a termite or bug inspection.
And that's one thing, Ed, too, on that. Let me add that in the past, it used to be where the veteran could not pay for that pest inspection. Now that they, either the agent had to or the seller had to, that's not the case. VA does allow the veteran to pay for that now. So, like what you're saying,
the other thing with that is if you have a well on your property, I don't know how much you have that in Ohio, but we have a lot on Cape Cod. That must be inspected as well, if you have a well.
So on ours, they just require a water test.
Yeah,
we're just taking a water test.
But on a conventional FHA, you don't need that. It's something unique to VA. So my point is...
Well, FHA will want one.
VA is...
We'll get one for FHA.
Oh, you do?
But they're just... unless the appraiser states it's in working, blah, blah, blah. But the appraisers up here or out here, they're some of them can be conservative. Like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, the guy's been drinking it for 60 years. Is he dead? No. Well, then I'm probably assuming it's pretty good, clean water.
See, here on FHA, they avoid it. We don't even... Appraiser just says everything's working. So, but VA, it's mandated on the thing. So in summary, VA is a great loan. The rates are usually lower than conventional over the last 6 years. Previous to that, maybe not. And why are they lower? They're government backed. They're a more secure loan. So the rates are lower, 0% down. You have to provide us a DD 214, which is after you've left the military. If you're in active information, we got to make sure you're eligible. Can you, Shane, have more than 2 VA loans? Take it from here.
Yes, you can actually. A lot of people don't realize that you don't have to sell your existing. Look how cool Ed looks. You don't have to sell your existing home if you have a VA loan. Now, there is a certain amount of eligibility that you have, and you have to, if you're over that amount, then you might have to bring the difference in money. You know, you can do, like I was talking about, I have a client right now. We're actually doing a VA loan, and he's putting down 20% because the rate's better for him. And he's like, look, I'd rather do this, and it's easier for him. And I'm fine with that. I think it's a great idea. He has no funding fee because he does receive disability. So I mean, it's kind of they're almost like, I always laugh because when VA loans, and people are doing like the second or third VA loan, or even refinancing on VA loans, they have disability, so they're like, oh, it's basically free short of closing costs. I'm like, yeah, if you're at 90% or 100% financing, heck yeah. So it's a good deal for them.
So I think that covers VA loans.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear about your golf. Well, I really don't care, but I've been told I need to hear about your golf season and camping season. And then I'm going to talk. I was in Ohio, so we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So camping season and golf season has been good. I got my golf league, and my wife and I remember over this little golf course, and we do that and it's a fun time. I love. I've been getting all the kinks out of the golf. I've had some demons in my golf game lately, and it's just been finally coming away.
A demon getting demons. I kind of like that
right.
one.
Yeah. And then camping has been good. We actually, what's funny is we were just in Kentucky to see a Gary Allen concert with some friends and all of us. We all stayed at the campground, and they had like attached to the campground was like a little motel area. It was great. We all camped out. We had some good drinks. I was feeling life for sure. So
takes a lot to make you feel light. That's for sure.
Yeah. How was Ohio? You came to Ohio.
Yeah, so we went to Ohio, Plain City area, also the Columbus, something with a W that Tom lives in, Whittington.
Westerville?
Yeah. So
Westerville, maybe?
It was very nice. So for a guy that doesn't see a lot of land, there's a ton of land in Ohio. We are seeing in certain parts.
I never thought about that.
I'm sorry?
I never thought about that. I guess, yeah. There's not much land. I mean, there's all sea for you.
Not open land to build on. So there in Plain City, for instance, there's all cornfields. Then all of a sudden there's a bunch of tract housing. And people think, oh, Ohio's cheap. Some of these tract housing houses that are right on top of each other are $600,000. So our world is different. So back to fishing. I got on the boat 10 times in May. We are June 20th. By the way, 27 years of marriage tomorrow, which will be June 21st.
Congratulations. Mrs. Moloney is a godsend. She's the woman's an angel putting up with your for all these years.
And I've only been on the boat twice for the month of June. The goal is 10. We're not going to get there. But fishing. So I'm up to 43 striped bass for the year. Caught my 37-inch striped bass, almost as big as Shane's head. It was huge. Actually, I think Shane's head's about 48 inches. Ask his wife because he knows everything. But caught that on a charter yesterday. I've never counted how many of a particular species I've caught in a given year. So the goal is 100. We'll see if I get there. Black sea bass is my favorite fish. Now it's been on the 2nd of June. We went out on our boat, and me, my son, and wife caught 2 beautiful ones, ate them. I ate them. Everybody else talks about eating them. And then, because of my time in Ohio, many know that I'm called Farmer Ed. I give away Yetis. I wear a farmer hat. I talk to horses. I talk about mortgages. Now I got my own Tickle Me Elmo Farmer Ed doll. So, we are into that. We're also into purple unicorns. A lot of people say, "What's a purple unicorn?"
Tickle Me Ed.
It is all about what gets in your head and you're worried about. And you can't say, "I don't know what it is." What's your purple unicorn, Shane? Well, my purple unicorn is I can't hit the golf ball the right way, and my wife hits it much better than me. Well, Shane, maybe you should get lessons from Brian, who Brian, by the way, is my associate. Brian is my right, left by every hand. He does majority
Pretty
of the
much the
work.
guy who does everything.
He does the majority of the back end work on my team. We are a team. We are beautiful. We'll talk about that another day. But we've gotten through fishing and golf.
Yep.
Why are people scared in this market? Home sales in the market right now. What are you seeing and hearing? So Ohio's a different world than Mass. I'll let you take it.
Yeah. Ohio, Michigan, totally different than your East Coast world. So we have a. I mean, I think there's a home shortage everywhere, and with that, I don't know. I shouldn't say out here. There's a home shortage. Home sales are going. Homes go quick, and I'm finding the price range of homes that are the hot market in our area is anywhere from that 170 to 250. I mean, they're going crazy, and you are having multiple bids. So if you have Uncle Andy in your back ear telling you, "Well, I would offer 10,000 less," you know what? Uncle Andy doesn't know the market. He hasn't bought a home since 1974. Listen to your agent. Listen to your gut. I mean, at the end of the day, lending wise, I don't care what you offer on the home. It's got to appraise, and if it doesn't appraise, then then we have to go back to renegotiations. So with being scared, I will say though, don't. That's what you have professionals for. You have your agent, you have your your farmer Elmo Ed, you have me. We're here to kind of we deal with this every day. So what freaks you out will not freak out us because it's just like an everyday occurrence. But we will hear, we respect your opinions and we want to help you and walk you through. And there's sometimes we'll be like, we're like, yeah, that's bullshit. That's a home. Go find something else. That seller can go kick stones. He is off his rocker. There ain't no way. I had a house that the house didn't appraise, and the sellers were like, "Well, we updated the kitchen." I go, "You painted the damn counterpot tops. That's not updating the kitchen. That's perfume in the pig." Okay, let's just call it what it is. So. That's something I would say. I mean, I know you have a different your market.
But it's all about perspective. So the fact of the matter is, certain areas of Ohio that Shane's talking about in that price range. We were in Plain City the other day, and literally track housing on top of each other. There were houses there, a small ranch, brand new, but 1,700 square feet tops, $500,000. So there's different areas. So I'm not worried about the price because you know what? Cape Cod, a bottom house is 500. The point more is fear. And what we've talked about a lot is wealth has come historically from housing. We've only had very few years down compared to years up. The reality is nationally, we have more people than we have homes. Very different than 2008, which you've heard us say these on these podcasts forever. In certain parts of the country, they're building more. But the reality is it's this fear factor. You got to figure out, I just did a coaching education call for a young couple, and we went through their veterans, back to the veteran piece, their credit they're working on, they're living at home at one of their spouse's parents' house, they're not in a rush. So we talked about doing different things. They qualify on paper for $5,800 a month. $5,800 for a mortgage. But right now they're not saving. They're paying $1,000 to their parents. They're not saving a dime. So they've got to figure out where they can be and what that comfort figure is. Well, if it's $2,500, ain't going to buy them much. They're going to have to go over the bridge. Maybe they're going to look at a multifamily. Maybe they're going to look at things. But my big thing is as follows. People have their head in the sand, head in rocks, because they're scared of the list. We got to change that mentality. I just talked to a higher level executive in our firm the other day, Rob, Big George. And I said to him, Rob, we need as a community, as a company, as individuals, to start being educators. Not just talk about it, but getting out there. So guys, anyone listening or watching this, Who do you know that's renting? In Mass, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, just got that, or Michigan. And we have other states that we've got colleagues in. The reality is reach out to us. Why, Ed? Because your son or yourself or your nephew or your girlfriend's son or somebody you work with, they're 23 years old. Maybe they just signed a 2-year lease. This just happened with a couple that came to me. Now they understand debt to income and they're like, oh my goodness, I get what this is. They understand their credit. They understand maybe paying off some of their debt versus just throwing everything into 401k and never paying off their debt. It's very similar. Yeah. I have a shoulder issue. You have a socket, and then you have a ball that goes into your shoulder. My socket is very tight. I go to the PT. She basically says, I'm the pain witch. I'm like, that does not make me feel very good. Once we communicated and I understood what the steps were, where the pain was going to be, what the next steps are, I could breathe and get through it. This is exactly what all of our listeners owe to anyone they know that's renting. Bring them to us. Yeah. A lot of mortgage people, they suck. Let me be blunt. They suck. They want something that's going to close tomorrow. We will talk to somebody.
Takers, your pizza delivery people.
That isn't ready for 5 years. And I love the pizza delivery thing. So remember, you could have somebody make $10,000 a year, but they get a cosigner. That cosigner could be Uncle Charlie in Florida for a house in Ohio. Well, Uncle Charlie's income and Mikey, the pizza guy, covers everything. Well, Mikey, the pizza guy, now says, oh, that's a mortgage a little high for my pizza, and I don't really want to do anything else. So he rents out 2 rooms to friends. Now he pays his mortgage. Or Mikey goes and buys a true 3-family or investment property. The point being, to end this subject, is fear needs to get out of the way. You've got 2 true professionals here that give a shit and that want to help educate renters. So stop saying, oh, well, when I find somebody, I'm going to send them to my realtor mortgage person. Start building wealth for the people you love and care for by having them do a call with a true professional. We're not licensed in California or New York, thank God. And and our company isn't. But if I had to find somebody there, I could. So I think that kind of covers that.
Yeah, I think we're going to get into multi. You said a good thing about the 3-unit thing, and we're going to talk about multifamily here too. I'll tell you what.
You might need this for your head.
We've talked about this.
This might be
listen, buddy. I sunblock the shit out of this thing. It's because let me tell you right now, this is like a sun catcher, and I don't. Have you ever burnt the top of your head? It hurts like hell. Yeah. It hurts.
And bald is beautiful. Bald is beautiful, baby.
Yeah, bald is beautiful. What I don't want to do is get a bunch of sunspots on my head because I didn't protect myself. So, but no, multifamily. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac said, hey, look, you can now buy a multifamily if you're going to live in the home and only have to put 5% down. So why would that be good? Why big deal? Why would I want to, live in an apartment or a multi? Well, 1, you own it. And 2, now if it's a 2-unit or a 3-unit or 4-unit, now you're getting rent. You're building net worth where it's actually maybe making the rent you're collecting is basically paying for your mortgage. So you're living rent free. So therefore you can put more money to your investments or everything. So it's a smart way to go. Now, some of the things I thought was impressive, there's some stats here. The Gen Z population is 19 to 25-year-olds are buying homes. This is a great way for you to get it and build net worth. You're young. You don't have a lot of cash. You don't have, mom and dad's been making money for years and, building net worth. You didn't start that way. So, if you get into something like this and you get into this house and all of a sudden you're living in it for a year or 2, and maybe you decide to say, you know what? I want to buy another home. Now you can go buy another house. You have money, you have net worth. You have this home, you keep it, maybe rent it out. the rate of this was what I thought was impressive though. The rate of 24-year-old Gen Zers that are buying homes right now is 27.8 compared to the 24.5 for millennials. So again, the Gen Zs are a very large population, and maybe this is something that you guys might look into, because you learn how to work on your own home. You make it yours, and then, like I said, you're building net worth. Christ, if you're instead of you paying $1,500 a month, if you're getting $1,500 a month for rent, and that covers your whole house payment, and you're just taking care of the utilities and everything else, you're pretty much living for next to nothing. You're saving a crap ton of money. Why wouldn't you do this? I mean, it's a no-brainer. Honestly, it's a true no-brainer. And here, I don't know your stats, Ed, but I know some of our area homes on the market, they're averaging like on a house. Like if you want to go I want to buy a house, it's averaging, 10 days on market, let's say, on multifamilies, they're averaging, close to 30 days on the market. The average price is a little bit lower than a regular family. You're not competing. You might be competing with some investors, but it's so much. I mean, I can tell you right now, you're competing with a shit ton of investors on single family homes, because a lot of them are buying homes and renting them out or making them verbos or B&B.
Well, there's big corporations buying the single families more than the multis. I agree with you. And every market, if a house is on for 30 days, you have a better chance of getting it. I had buyers missing out on offers. Oh, by the way, Shane, you got to get a hat like this. Brian will get it for you. So when you go golfing, you can see Farmer Ed on your head. But the big thing was when, even in the last 18 months, we had buyers that were just getting their butts kicked. And they were getting depressed. 7, 8 offers, nothing.
Yeah.
We made a mandate, not a mandate, but a decision with one couple. They said, we're not looking at anything that's not on 25 days. Within 2 months, they found their dream house because they set their expectations, they changed it. And when those houses sit for a little bit, people start to go, I don't know. I don't know.
What's wrong
and
with
not
it?
everybody wants a multi. And a lot of multis are not pure cash flowing for the investors because they pay a higher rate as an investment. They're putting 25% down, their rates 1.5 to 2 points higher. So they really needed a certain thing. So I think multis are definitely the way to go. We're going to go into why we're not just loan officers, what else we do. But before that, I had a Monte Cristo White last night. I wish I brought it in a cylinder that I got for Father's Day because my family likes me. Shane, what was your last?
My daughter's bought me a gift certificate to the cigar affair that I go to. So they love me.
What was your last cigar this week, and what did you like about it? So the Monte Cristo White for me in the container, it was a thinner cigar, really tightly wrapped, smoked for a long time. I had a purple Lawson hazy beer. I posted online. Hazy Lawson liked it. We're waiting for Monte Cristo. If anybody knows anybody at Monte Cristo, get them to like Farmer Ed's post. I'd like to be their spokesman. Yep. Okay. But what was
I actually yesterday I had I said it was the hottest. I don't know how your weather's been, but we've had a heat streak. It was hot as balls here yesterday, and we sat there. We sat outside. So like usually we call it Bible study, which there's no Bible in it. It's just a bunch of men drinking and smoking cigars and solving all the world problems. We're pretty much idiots.
We're leaving that to that side. This has nothing to do with that. Yeah. This is Shane.
So I had yesterday. I had it was a hot day, so I actually had some gin and tonic because it was cooling, and then I had a great Brick House, the Brick House, Connecticut. I really like those. So
you like the stronger, darker cigars. I like the Connecticut wrappers, but do you like the Connecticut's?
I prefer a Connecticut, actually. Well, I shouldn't say that. I like the Connecticut. That's how I've always started, which is the lighter wrapper. But the Habano wrapper is another thing I've kind of gone into. and it's a little darker, but it's something. Sometimes it's better than Connecticut. It
Yeah.
depends on the
Well, it
maker.
depends on the maker. It depends on how dry things are.
Yep.
So that's the cigar talk. I'll kind of go into what we are. We're not just loan officers. If you have a contract, like for instance, my clients are in a 2-year lease. They know if they could break it or not. I said, send it to me. I'm not saying I'm the pro in all this, but I have attorney friends that owe me big time. So they can review it and say, Ed, you see this, I see this. Maybe they can get out with a 2-month breakout. Look out for.
Hey, I do have a question, Ed, on that. Is that common in your areas? A 2-year lease?
No, but they are starting to become more common because people are concerned. So renters are concerned, especially if they have pets or children, that they're going to get kicked out because everybody's selling their house or upping their rent. We don't have a lot of big rental places, so it's multi-families, single families. I had a friend that signed a 4-year lease because he wanted to make sure. So yeah, we're seeing renters because they don't want to move over every year. So it is more common than it used to be. We look out for our client's best interest. And what we talked about with that is, I have a client pre-approved for $5,800 a month. What can they sleep at night? Right now they're spending $1,000 to pay their parents. Well, they need to be putting X away, proving to themselves that luckily they're in a great situation. They can stay at the parents. I can go and say, buy a X hundreds of $1,000 house for $4,800 payment, even though it's $1,000 less than they can quote unquote afford. I said, you guys got to figure this out. She loved that. Have connections to many.
I think you're right on that.
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm going to capitalize on that. I think you kind of do the same thing. We always, when people are applying, we always ask, where are you comfortable payment wise? Because honestly, I give zero craps what the max is. I mean, you might qualify for $800,000 home. Doesn't mean you want a $5,800 payment. We have many times where people are like, well, I thought you said I was good for 170. I'm like, no, you wanted a $1,500 payment and that put you here. If you want to go up, here's what you would be. Oh, okay. Well, if we can go up a little higher, I'm okay with that. I know and I think you're right. I think it's a matter of talking to these individuals and really looking and like, hey, you make good money. What are you doing with this?
It's not judging.
Sometimes
it's just highlighting.
Sometimes that hard talk. Some people don't. Parents don't get into that hard talk, or maybe they don't think about it. It's like, guys, you want to build net worth. We always talk about that, and we've beat that horse dead on that. But it's still important. It's still important because what you don't want to be is Grandma Moses at 70 years old working at Walmart as a greeter because you have to, not because you want to. I have no problem with Grandma Moses wanting to work at a Walmart because, Christ, I wouldn't want to sit home all day and watch The Price is Right. Is that even on anymore? I don't know. But either way, what I'm saying is you do something that you want to do it where you can be comfortable with it. And I think, Ed, you're right. I think we are connected with many professionals, and I know you have like a laundry list of people for attorneys and barbers, and my barber died.
That's why the head looks that way. No, and that's one of the things in today's world. It's social media, it's podcasts, it's things like that. You don't go out, look at people dating. If Shane's wife ever gets smart and left him, he can go to a bar, people can see what his face is. So they do it online. But everything.
I use an AI photo.
Everything is social conversations now, unfortunately. But we're here for looking at the right professional. Maybe it's you're going through a divorce. Maybe it's you're relocating to Texas. We have a little guy named Matt D. Matt D's licensed in Texas. He's
a really little guy.
He's a very little guy. And Matt D, if you're watching this, you send us a note that we brought up your name. I will give you a $50 bill. Only if Shane doesn't tell you.
I'm not telling him because I want to see if that son of a bitch watches it. He always says, "Oh, I watch your shows. Yeah. I watch your show." He's a little angry man. I love him to death, but we'll see if he watches.
But he's licensed in Texas now, so we have connections everywhere. We're going to get into insurance, then we're going to have parting shots. Yeah. So I'll start with insurance. Guys, it's this little thing called inflation. Everything's gone through the effing roof. So your house costs more to fix than it did before. Even though wood prices have come down, labor prices have gone up, nails have gone up. We know. You go to the grocery store, blah, 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 blah. So everybody's bitching and moaning about homeowners insurance. Fact of the matter is it's going up. What goes up does not always come down. Homeowners insurance will not come down. So when we're either doing our estimates for closing costs and payments, I brought mine up 30% from what we used to.
Yeah.
I and Shane could be the identical people. Thank God we're not. But I have 2 dogs, a horse, a trampoline, a gun, arrows, and Shane has nothing. And our houses are exactly the same. And our credit's exactly the same. We've never had a claim. My insurance could be a shitload higher than Shane's because they penalize me for being fun. The reality is, even if we're perfect and we both have nothing, we have nothing but our cigars. That's it. Our homeowners insurance is at least 20 to 30% more than it was in 2018. At least. And it keeps going up. Shane, that's what I'm seeing across the board. Yeah. More so in water areas or wind areas. So as Shane's area gets more tornadoes, they're going to, in my opinion, your insurance is going to go up. You guys have had more effing tornadoes than I thought. I didn't think you guys were in a tornado area.
We do. It's just this time of the year. We're not like Oklahoma or Kansas and all that.
No, but if you have 5 this year and had 2 last year, next year your insurance is going to go even higher.
Yeah. I mean, you're always paying for other people. And I think, I personally am always like to, when Ed and I, like I said, we're pretty good at estimating insurance. My good friend is an insurance agent. We're pretty good about, I've done enough business with them to know what seems off, or, when I'm doing estimates for clients, I'm like, hey, this seems a little high. And what we'll do, we'll tell them. I'm like, look, this is a lot higher than, like, I had a client whose insurance came back at $2,400 a year. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, look, that's a lot higher than I thought. And I had him. I'm like, look, do you want me to have my one guy reach out to you? And they're like, yeah. So Matt reached out to him, not little Matt, a friend of mine, Matt. He reached out to him, talked to him. I mean, he saved him like $1,000, and he saved him on their auto insurance. I'm like, which I don't care about cars, but it does. Overall, it tells you every month.
It helps the financial wealth.
Yeah.
So my parting shot ties into this. Everybody's feeling the crunch. They're feeling the pinch. If you are a homeowner already or know a homeowner, and you can just feel the stress. They're worried about their spouse getting laid off. They've run up some credit cards. They've shared it with you. Their equity line is 8 years into a 10-year equity line. Don't have them feel guilty. Don't have them feel bad. Have them talk to a professional like us. You know what? I'm not proud to say, but it's a fact. In the last 8 months, I've taken 5 people from 3% or under rates into the 7s. Ed, you're horrible. No, I'm not. In many cases, they save $2,100 a month. Spouse down said why a second mortgage may or may not work. In all these cases, it didn't. I said, here's where we are. This is your choice. If you think you can get bonuses, second jobs, like Ed, we need to do this or we're going to lose our house at some point. Please have people not be in fear. I lived through 08. I got in the business in 03. By the time 08 happened, I have empathy for people. I went through a tough time. I only had 5 years experience in the business. We built a freaking McMansion in my hometown. I remember the stress of money.
I had a full head of hair.
Yeah. And your whole body parts worked. But that's a different story.
Yeah. All my body parts.
So my parting shot is we're not here just for renters. We're here for people going through divorce, people for financial things. We'll talk to their parents or their siblings, or if their siblings are living in the house, or soon-to-be ex-spouses to make it work. That's my parting shot. Shane, your parting shot. By the way, this was our best podcast yet. Wait till next time.
I think I did a good job. I think we all did a good job. I think I will tell you my parting shot. Really, I thought about this. Is in we talked about it today about being scared. Everybody's going to be scared. You know, yeah, you're going to be scared. But unless you talk to somebody about this, you know, you're the one that has to decide. We're never gonna like, oh, you're gonna make your payments now, ha 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 ha. But it's a really, I mean, without having that conversation, literally, you're just going through life stupid. I mean, because you are, and I don't mean to be sound
What an
mean,
asshole.
but without actually physically talking, going, well, YouTube said, well, that doesn't matter. I mean, talk to somebody who's going to guide you, not crazy Uncle Andy who's got 30 cats and hasn't bought a home ever. It's just definitely talk to somebody.
Our last piece is we still have wonderful shirts to give away. We've given some. One ended up all the way in Disney. It was beautiful. One went up to a beautiful woman walking on the streets. You could be a beautiful man, beautiful woman. You could put it on your dog for all I care. So, Shane, how do they enter? Tell them.
It's real simple. All you need to do is subscribe to our site. Just either, I want to hear it. So you get the pop-ups to whatever platform you're using, YouTube, Spotify, blah, 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 whatever digital magic you have to do. From there, okay, just email us or message us, say, on Facebook or however, say, hey, I subscribed. If you want to email us, it's mortgagedudes@callequity.net. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions or things you want to hear about or have questions, if you have complaints, it's Moloney@callequity.net, because I don't want to hear your...
And I will part with this. I'm going to open it all up for you spammers. My cell phone, 774-573-0329. If you thought this was fun, go follow Edward Moloney. You can only follow me because I got 5,700 over the 5,000 friends. I do Farmer Ed videos. Someday we're going to get Shane out to pick up wood. Thank you, Shane, for being my friend. Thank you that I don't live in Ohio. Someday you'll come to Cape Cod, that wonderful camper.
I would love to.
We'll smoke cigars. We'll do a video from that. Thank you all. Look forward to the next one.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Shane.
Yep. See you, bud.